Hi everyone and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. For this week's tutorial we're going to be making this super cute Rudolph the reindeer from a Terry's chocolate orange. Perfect for your Christmas portfolio. As always, everything you need to know in a simple step-by-step format. Let's make a start. Unwrap a Terry's chocolate orange and place this directly onto some baking paper. Using some liquid glucose and a small brush, simply brush the surface area of your chocolate orange. This will give the fondant something to stick to. On a dusted down surface, simply roll out exactly 150 grams of brown fondant and try to keep this in a circular shape. Carefully drape this over your chocolate orange, negotiating the pleats from the top to the bottom. I then smooth this out with a flexi smoother by Squire's Kitchen. However, if you are a beginner baker, do not worry about this as this is not essential, before cutting away any excess fondant. For Rudolph's head, take a small ball of brown fondant and make sure it's the right size by placing it next to your chocolate orange. You then simply want to use your fingers around the top so that the mouth part sticks out, and where the eyes are going to go, that's going to be further in. I use the chocolate orange as a guide just to get the general shape, and then I'm going to take it away and show you how to create that adorable face. I start by using a ball tool to place 3 indentations, one for each eye and one for the mouth. If you are new to baking, this tool is used an awful lot and they are very cheap to purchase, so I would highly recommend getting one. Once you have applied all 3 of the indentations, I then use the end of a piping nozzle just to get the perfect shape for the mouth. However, if you have no piping nozzles, you can always use a cocktail stick. Starting with a small ball of white fondant, add this to the indentation and then you can either smooth this out with a ball tool or your finger. I then add a small ball of blue. I then add a small ball of black, and if you choose to, you can add a little bit of white to this just to make it look a bit more realistic. For the eyelashes, just roll out a very small sausage shape in your hands and make it slightly thinner at both ends. I then use a cocktail stick to help me place this directly onto the head because it's very, very tiny, and using a small amount of edible glue or cooled down boiled water, simply glue this into place. For Rudolph's nose, I start with a ball of red fondant and simply roll this into an oval shape before I apply this with some edible glue. Again, you can always use cooled down boiled water. Again, using simple shapes for the ears, I simply cut out a circle shape. If you don't have a circle cutter, you can use a piping tip. Cut this out and then simply pinch at both ends. And there you have Rudolph's ear ready to stick directly onto his head. Stick the ears into place with a small amount of edible glue. Now the antlers are super easy to make. They are best off made with modelling paste. However, you can use fondant, but just leave them to set overnight. Start by rolling a very simple cone shape like I have here. We then want to place some spaghetti directly into the centre. This will support the antler, but it's also completely edible, so it can be used in sugarwork. Once you have gently fed this directly through the centre of the antler, you then simply want to cut some sections away and using a cocktail stick, add some indentations. Leave these to set overnight and then we will be able to apply them very easily without them breaking directly to Rudolph's head. Once these have dried, simply push them directly into the head. I have already placed an indentation in this with a cocktail stick, so I knew where to place each one, and there's already some edible glue on there. Just leave to one side to dry. For the front legs, simply roll out 2 cone shapes. I have placed this on a 5-inch round cake drum as a guide so I don't accidentally make Rudolph too big. I then simply glued all of those into place using some edible glue and added some indentations directly to the front of Rudolph's legs. Again, for the back legs, start by rolling this into a cone-like shape, but then we just bend it so it's slightly different, just like you can see me do here. You will notice on Rudolph where I placed those indentations, I have added a small amount of a darker brown fondant. That is Rudolph's back leg. It really is as simple and as easy as that. Simply place directly on there with some edible glue. Finally, if you have a star cutter, I simply placed a few dark brown stars on the top of my Rudolph, placed it on a decorated cake drum, and then I simply rolled out small balls of white fondant for the snow. Happy baking, everyone. I really do hope I've helped you again today, and I will be back soon with more new, completely free content.